So the Red Hot Chili Peppers are featured on a segment of 60 Minutes, and during this segment, John Frusciante actually played the guitar a little bit just himself, and this kind of section has been dubbed the 60-minute riff kind of by John Frusciante fans, and it's really cool. So today we're going to take a look at it and discuss the amp he was using and possibly what effects also he had on the pedal board he brought to the segment. So let's get into today's video. So let's get into the impromptu guitar session that John put on for the segment of 60 Minutes Overtime. Let's just play it first and then discuss everything after. Alright, so I have to say, I think my favorite part of this whole thing is just what a fantastic look we get at the 62 Strat. You just see all the wear that John's put on it, especially since the Stadium Arcadium era. We really don't ever get a full HD look up close and personal of this guitar in John's hands. And it's just fantastic to see this guitar just so clear, and you get so much detail in these shots of it. You know, all the little nicks in the body, all the wear that's done in the forearm area, and then of course where John's right hand's gotten all the pick wear and how that's grown even over the years. You just get a really brilliant look at the guitar in this, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind that I appreciate. Is just this is just awesome. We get to see the guitar in such a clear shot. As far as what amplifier John used, you can actually see the Ampeg B15 behind him. Now this is really cool to see him using this amplifier because John actually purchased this amplifier for the recorded sessions of Unlimited Love, and I'm going to read a quote that he did in the Total Guitar Magazine interview for you guys on this amplifier. So this is John talking about just different amplifiers used during the recording process of Unlimited Love. I also had an Ampeg B15. I really loved both the guitar playing and engineering of Greg Sage from the Wipers. He's gotten some of the best guitar tones I think anybody's ever recorded. He mentioned that he thought the B15 was the best amplifier ever made. So I bought one of those while we were recording the record to have a small amp to have a difference in tone for certain things. Then when I brought it in, Flea looked at it and said, "That's the same amp my stepdad used to have." His stepdad was a bass player and an upright bass player, and that was the amp he would plug his upright bass into. That was a funny coincidence. So kind of cool that this amplifier John brought in to have just something to give a bit of a different flavor during the recording process. But it kind of sounds like in this context, maybe he's also been using that as part of a warm-up amplifier or part of a warm-up rig. Just really cool and just a different choice. Because for this segment, you know, I think you might have initially betted maybe that he'd bring in just a Marshall Silver Jubilee or even the JMP 2203 to be the main amplifier that he used for the segment, bring that in with just a, you know, B cabinet, mic that up, and boom, he's ready to go. But instead he opts for this smaller, kind of strange amplifier choice. Now, the photo of the Ampeg B15 that you actually are seeing on your screen was from Ryan Hewitt as part of the Mix magazine's interview they did with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and again, specifically the recording process of Unlimited Love. And there's a quote in here about the use of the Ampeg as well that I want to read for you guys also. So again, here's John Frusciante talking in the Mix magazine article about the recording process, specifically that Ampeg B15. "I'm pretty good at programming a DX7 synthesizer, but I had never recorded it through an amplifier," he admitted. "I had just recorded it straight into the board. So when we were recording it into an Ampeg tube amp, and Ryan was using whatever microphone and going through all the old nice mic pre's, and we got such warm sounds that I would have thought they were a Mellotron." Frusciante was excited that he and Flea exchanged ideas for the first time since 1991's Blood Sugar Sex Magik. He gives an example on Bastards of Light. There's a synth sound that comes in halfway through the second verse, which was Flea's idea, and I went to the modular and executed it, Frusciante says, of one of his favorite cuts on the record. Then the two collaborated on one of the unreleased songs while Flea was playing the DX7. Frusciante modulated the sound of it. The actual recording process remained the same, something of a Chili Pepper standard. All four of us in the room, no click, no nothing, tape, boom, play, make it good, Chad Smith said. So that's just one way that Ampeg B15 was used on the record. I'm sure there were other ways John used it just for some overdubs and things like that, different flavors with just straight guitar parts on the record. Of course, the main parts were all Marshalls, but I wanted to include that in this segment, kind of giving some more background information on the amplifier he was using during this 60 Minutes segment. Now, as far as the pedal board that John would have used for this performance, I think it's pretty safe to assume it was probably his B rig, not his main massive touring pedal board. So in terms of the B rig and what pedals we know are generally on it, you have a noise suppressor, a Wilson modded WH10 version 3, a Boss SD1, an MXR Variac fuzz, the Boss DS2, of course you gotta have the Boss CE1, and then generally there's been a spot where some of the pedals we noticed have actually changed over time. And at this part here, it's kind of difficult to tell what he might have on the pedal board. And again, I'm just ballparking because you don't see what he's using at all. I'm just trying to think of what could have been used for this performance. In terms of reverb, I'm willing to bet that that MXR reverb, one of them at least, was probably on the board. It's featured on this B rig quite often, and I feel like it would have been stuck on there again. As far as delay, last time we kind of saw John using a smaller pedal board, he actually had the Digitech PDS 1002 on his pedal board, where before I believe he's had the carbon copy on there in the past, but I think that that might be what we're actually hearing in terms of delay. Again, it's really impossible to tell. The drive pedals obviously are just the exact kind of same combination that John normally uses, but as far as the reverbs and the delays, it's a little bit trickier to tell. As far as delays John's even used on the Unlimited Love tour, it's either been the Digitech PDS 1002, he's gotten the Echoplex from Dunlop or MXR, the MXR carbon copy as well, and then the Boss DD500 as just a bigger, do everything delay unit. But again, just using some educated guesswork here, the last time we really saw that smaller B rig, he had the PDS 1002 on it, so it's quite possible that's what he used. Knowing John for this segment as well, he would have just been messing around with the knobs and the pedals and trying to get a really crazy ambient sound, which you hear him playing and the soloing here is not really something he would put necessarily on a Chili Peppers record, but for him just performing by himself, it makes a lot of sense to have some more reverb and delay to help, fill the space in between the stuff he's playing and make everything sound obviously a lot more full and interesting than a more drier guitar signal in this context at least would. I think it's also just really funny that online I've seen people commenting and saying, oh, this is great, now we have the 60 Minutes lick, obviously referring to the bedroom lick that's very famous among Frusciante fans at least. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below of this segment. If you watch the whole thing, let me know your thoughts and this performance from John, what you think of it. I'm sure a lot of fans, myself included, are big fans of it, and it's just really cool even just to see, again, that 62 Strat just in such a clear shot of it. You just get the perfect look at it. And I just thought that, in general, was really cool and worth discussing alone. Nevertheless, all the other stuff we talked about in today's video. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please give it a thumbs up. That just greatly helps out the channel grow and helps the video reach more people as well. Also, perhaps you've watched a few of my John Frusciante videos already and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel as well. That just lets me know I'm doing a good job because YouTube's probably going to recommend you my content anyways, but that just greatly helps the channel grow and it'll help keep you in the loop of more John Frusciante content that I have coming out very soon. And until the next time, you guys, thank you so much for watching as always. Take care, and we'll see you soon.